Travel with me back in time for just a minute. It's Saturday morning, you're 12 years old, and you're doing what you love to do most on Saturday mornings. You're sitting down in the living room, you're still in your pajamas, you have your favorite box of cereal, you have a carton of milk, you have the biggest bowl you can find, and a tablespoon. Because everybody knows you don't eat cereal in a big bowl with a teaspoon. So you're sitting down and you're watching your favorite Saturday morning cartoons. Like you wait all week. You go to school, you do what you got to do at school, you come home, you do your chores, you go practice, whatever it is you got going on during the week. But Saturday morning is your time. It's prime time to sit down and just enjoy being a kid. You have no responsibilities, no cares in the world. Nothing eventful has happened just yet because this is your time to get down on the floor with your favorite box of cereal, your carton of milk, and the biggest bowl you could find, and just spend hours in front of the TV watching your favorite Saturday morning cartoons. And you got the cereal and the milk beside you because you don't want to miss the commercials. Because the commercials show you all about the latest toys and the cool things that you want, and you trying to remember what it is that you need to put on that Christmas list that's going to be coming up in a couple of months. So you're sitting down and you're just enjoying the freedom of being a kid on Saturday morning. Like you can smell what your mom was cooking in the kitchen, but you have to have your cereal. You can hear the sounds of the birds outside. Some of the kids are already outside playing, but your routine is to sit down every Saturday morning in your PJs with the biggest bowl you could find, a tablespoon, and your favorite box of cereal. But for some reason on this Saturday morning, your parents decide to come in and they interrupt you. They don't wait until the commercial. Like they stop you in the middle of your favorite show. And you're trying to be respectful and be composed. But inside you like, oh, I know they know this is my favorite show. I watch this show every week. Of all the times, of all the days, they need to come sit down and have a talk with me at this moment. It can't wait. So all that's going on in your head, and you're just sitting there staring at them like, you can't be serious. And your parents stand in front of the TV because they know that if they stand off to the side, you're still going to be distracted. So they stand in front of the TV and they look you in the eye and they tell you, we need to talk to you about something. And because you're a kid, you kind of sense that it's a little serious, but you still in the back of your head like, my show is on. We can literally talk about this any other time, but my Saturday morning show is on. And you say, okay. So they get the remote, they turn off the TV, and they sit down. And they look you in the eyes. Now you're 12 years old. And in this moment, your whole life is going to change. They sit down on the sofa, they look you in the eyes, and they let you know at 12 that you're going to die at the age of 33. Now, when you're 12 years old, 33 seems so far away. And you're definitely not thinking about death. Like to a 12-year-old, a 33-year-old is in their 70s, right? They're just old already. But when you think about that, you've already lived 12 years of your life. So that means you only have 21 years left. And in the midst of telling you that you're going to die when you turn 33, they continue to tell you that between now and then, it is your responsibility to save our family. And you like, hold up. I don't even like half my family. Like my sister gets on my nerves. My cousin's always picking on me and stealing my toys. Why do I even want to save them? But they're trying to get you to understand the weight and the seriousness of what they're telling you. And they know that you're 12. They know that it doesn't make sense. But they have to tell you now because time is of the essence. And so now at 12 years old, you've been left with the burden of your family's survival. Now, not just the family that's here, you're left with the burden of generations to come. Now, if we were in a different country where we didn't have all of these things, and let's say it was 2,000 years ago, we didn't have all of this television, we didn't have all of these cars, and all these video games and cell phones and all these things to distract us. 2,000 years ago, this conversation would be a little more received and understood, because a 12-year-old 2,000 years ago understood the value of time and attention and energy, and that what I do every day is key to my survival. But because we're here in this time, we don't really grasp the concept that time and what we do every day is the key to our survival. It's the key to our family survival. And it's the key to the generations to come, their survival. So you're sitting there at 12, and it goes in and marinates a little bit, but part of it it creeps on out the other ear, because you still in the back of your mind, okay, I'm 12, I died 33, and my family is dependent on me. Got it. Now, can we please move out the way, because I'm trying to watch my Saturday morning cartoons. I know you see this box of cereal and this milk in my bowl, and my cereal now is getting soggy, and everybody knows you don't eat soggy cereal. But later that day, you start to think, okay, my family's survival depends on, I don't really like my sister, but I do love her. Like, I don't want anything to happen to her. My cousins really get on my nerves, but I still love them too, and I don't want anything to happen to them. So what do I do? And now you're left with the pressure of knowing that 21 years later, from now, from this day, from this moment, you're not going to be here anymore. And you have 21 years to figure out what it is that you're going to do to make sure your family survives, how you're going to do it to make sure your family survives, and how you're going to convince your family that what you're doing is going to be the key to their survival. Rise and shine, superstars. It's your favorite light, Coach MB. This week we are talking about being successful, and how if you want to be successful, you have to be hungry. So we're going to break down the word hungry every single day of the week. And for those of you who know me, you know I love breaking down letters all the time. So this week, as we break down the word hungry, we're going to find information, and we're going to find strategies and keys to ensuring that we become successful in life, and whatever that looks like for us. And today, we're going to focus on the H. And the H is humility. It's being humble. Now, for some of us, 33 years, that's not a long time. For most of us, that's not a long time. A lot of us are quickly approaching that 33-year mark, like we're knocking at the door. And for some of us, we've already passed it. What if somebody came to you when you were 12 and said, hey, you're going to die when you turn 33, and whatever you do between now and then is going to either make sure that your family survives, or it's going to make sure that your family becomes non-existent and it becomes extinct. How would you live every day? Now, when you're 12, you might be able to, if you're somebody who can really, really understand the seriousness of what is just told to you, you might start immediately trying to figure out what it is that I need to do to make sure they survive, how I'm going to make sure that what I do is the right thing to do to make sure they survive, and then how do I tell them that what I'm doing in the midst of me doing it, even though I don't really know what I'm doing, is going to ensure their survival. But then as you get to 16, like, you've kind of had 4 years here trying to figure out this space. And while all the other 15 and 16-year-olds are out living their best life and getting into all this teenage drama and going through changes and not understanding what's happening, you're sitting back and you're thinking about, okay, now I'm 16. All right. So that means I had 21 years to live left. Now I don't have 21 years anymore. I only have 17. So I'm 16 and only have 17 more years to live. What am I going to do? Like, I'm almost at that middle mark. 6 months from now, I'm going to already lived half of my life, and I only have half of my life left to live. And I haven't quite figured out what it is that I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to do it to ensure that my family survives. Then you get to 21. And while all your friends are in college and they're partying and they're drinking and they're hanging out and they're doing all of the things that you do at 21, you are in focus mode. Like you figured out what it is you're supposed to do. You've kind of figured out how you're supposed to do it, but your family doesn't understand. They still don't understand. But you have to keep doing it. They're talking about you. Your friends definitely don't understand, if you even have friends left. They're talking about you. They're judging you. They're like, you're going to have, but they don't get it. That time is valuable. And so when you're humbling yourself, you have to humble yourself to time. Because see, we wake up every single day and we have this arrogance about ourselves that we're going to go throughout this day with no direction, no intention, and then we're going to have the opportunity to wake up again tomorrow. When the reality is that 150,000 people around the world don't make it to their tomorrow. But we have this arrogance about ourselves, this audacity, this pride about ourselves that says, well, I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm going to be here tomorrow. So if there is anything I need to do today and I don't get to it, guess what? I'm going to have a chance to do it tomorrow. But what if you don't? What if today was the day that you were supposed to do whatever it is you were supposed to do that would ensure your family's survival for generations to come, and you didn't do it? Because you didn't humble yourself to time. Now, you can't get caught up on thinking about all the time up until this point that you haven't been productive, that you haven't been doing your best, that you haven't been giving your all, because then that's just going to distract you. And now guess what? You're wasting more time reliving the past. But if you focus on the now, what it is that you can do now in this moment that will help you be successful in ensuring that your family survives, ensuring that you create generational wealth, ensuring that you live a life of abundance and prosperity, ensuring that the things that you do today are going to have a ripple effect, and it's going to flow over to your children and your children's children and your nieces and your nephews and your great-grands and all of these people that you might not even get to see. But you know that what you did today dropped the rock in the pond. And that what you do today in this moment is going to make sure that your family, your children, your children's children, their children's children, they remember you. Dr. Martin Luther King, he woke up every day. Some days he woke up afraid, more afraid than courageous. And some days he woke up more courageous than afraid. But it didn't matter how he felt that day. Every day he woke up and he knew that he had something he had to do. And at some point, it registered in his mind that what he had to do to ensure the survival of his children and his children's children and his children's children, he wasn't going to be around to witness it. And he still played all out every single day. Now, he died at 39. Some of you are 39 now. Some of you are almost 39. Some of you have already passed 39. But Dr. Martin Luther King humbled himself to time. He knew that he wasn't going to be here forever. And likewise, we are not going to be here forever. Now, God willing, we're going to live much longer than 39. We're going to live into our 80s, into our 90s, and with good sense, good mind, good mobility. But what if we don't? What if today's your last day? And today is the only day that you have the opportunity to figure out what it is that you were placed here to do and how you're going to do it to ensure that your life is successful, that your success leads generational wealth. It leads your children to see how to operate in their lives. And you're responsible for changing the fabric and the trajectory of where your family came from to where your family can go. Some of us get so caught up in all of the stuff that our ancestors and our family have been through in the past. And we just hold on to that and we just relive the hurt. And we dive into the emotion of that. And we do it so much that we forget that we can be the change maker. We can be the one that takes what came into the world and change it so that what we put out of the world is the opposite of what got us in the world. But we're arrogant. In order to do that, we have to humble ourselves to time. I mean, we have to humble ourselves to a lot more things than time. We have to humble ourselves to being able to learn. We have to humble ourselves to the wisdom of other people. We have to humble ourselves to the attention that we give. Like, we have to humble ourselves to a lot of things. But if we can humble ourselves to time, and we can truly grasp how serious it is for us to live each day like it was our last, like Steve Jobs says, to wake up every single day, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself one question. If today were my last day, would I be doing what I'm about to go do? And if your answer is no, what are you going to do to change it to a yes? You have to be humble to time. You have to respect time. Time doesn't have to respect you, because whether you're here today and gone tomorrow, time is going to keep doing what time does. It's going to keep on rolling. And so if you want to be successful, if you really want to make an impact in your life and the lives of others, if you really want to put a dent in this world and let the world know that you were here, and because you were here doing what you were created to do and living out your purpose, your family is set. Someone else's family is set. Because you were an example of how it didn't matter where I came from. It only mattered what my decisions were today and where I wanted to go. We have to shift our focus to where we want to go. Learn the lessons from where we've been. But don't dwell in them. Don't meditate on them. Don't get under the covers with them and go to sleep and relive the nightmares in your dreams. We have to be willing to find and pursue what we're created to do. And guess what? When you were 12 and you started making that transition and you started trying to figure out what you were created to do and how you were going to accomplish what you were created to do to ensure that your family was going to be safe and ensure that they survived, your family, they didn't understand. The very people that you were working for, working hard to make sure that they lasted, they lived, they didn't understand, so they questioned you. It felt like they judged you. It felt like they condemned you. It felt like they were against you at times because they didn't see the vision, but you have seen your vision. You know that you want a life of abundance. You know that you want a life of prosperity. You know you want to be out of debt. You want to be healthy. You want to give your children a life that you didn't have. You know you want to start your own business. You know you want to write this book. You know that there's a story inside of you that needs to come out. But what you have to do is realize that time deserves more respect than the respect you're giving your family's confusion, your family's judgment and condemnation. Because they feel like you're sacrificing them, when in reality, you're doing everything in your power to make sure that they survive. So you have to really, really humble yourself to this gift called time, because it's not going to last forever. You never know when one day you're not going to wake up. You just don't know when that day is going to come. But if you are truly desiring to be successful in your life, in every area of your life, in your finances, in your relationships, in your health, in your mindset, in your spirituality, any and every area that you think of that you want to be successful in, you have to humble yourself to time. And you have to live each day with intention. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be truthful with yourself. You have to live each day with intention. You have to be willing to motivate yourself. You can't depend on other people for your motivation. You have to be willing to motivate yourself, and you have to execute. That's how you humble yourself to time. T, truth, be honest with yourself. I, intention, live each day with intention. M, motivate. Be your own motivator. Understand that Everything you have is all that you need. You don't need anybody else's approval. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't need anybody else's support. You have to motivate yourself, because some days you're going to wake up and you want to get a message from somebody, you want to get a phone call from somebody, and they're not going to wake up to do it, or they're going to forget. And if you're relying on someone else to motivate you to get you where you need to go, then some days you might not get there. And you have to execute. That's how you humble yourself to time. Figure out what it is you need to do and then do it. Don't just write it down and think you've accomplished something because you have a goal. Or don't just write it down in detail and think you accomplished something because you have a daily plan, a daily schedule. You have to do what's on the schedule. You got to execute what you wrote down. You want to be successful, but you don't want to do the execution process. And that's the most important process. You got to stop waiting for tomorrow as if tomorrow is promised for you, because it's not. You got to stop putting things off till tomorrow as if you're going to get another opportunity, because tomorrow, at this moment, it doesn't exist for all you know. So today I just want you to really think about, how can I humble myself to time? What is it that I'm doing throughout my day that I need to say, okay, you know what? If my family depended on me, if it's 2,000 years ago, and I had a cell phone 2,000 years ago, and I had Instagram 2,000 years ago, but my family depended on me to go out and hunt and bring home the food so that my children could eat. Would I sit here on Instagram and Facebook and social media, or would I put my phone down and go do what I need to do to make sure my family survives? You got to take responsibility for how you're spending your time, because you have a spending limit. And the more that time is behind you, the closer you're getting to that limit. And once you've spent it all, you don't get a refund, you don't get an exchange. That's it. So humble yourself to time today. Figure out how you can do that. Just sit down, take a few minutes, and just go over your life. Take inventory of what you do every day and how you can improve it, and what you can change, and what you can implement, and what you can say no to, that will help you get to that life of success and prosperity and abundance that you desire. Before we go, I need you to hit me with a big come through if you are thankful that God woke you up this morning, because gratitude is the absolute best way for you to start your day. And if for some reason you're not really thankful this morning, then find out a reason why you should be and hold on to it tight. Don't make a permanent decision today based off of a temporary situation, but you know what it is. If you don't remember anything I just said, always remember this. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be great. And it's a great day to find the greatness in you. Now go out there and live the greatest day of your life.